Hi, today we are talking about bully coworkers. So this is a big problem in the workplace. Bullies are a big problem in the workplace, and you have some powerful tools, and we're going to talk about those tools today on how to push back on bullying in the workplace. Okay, so first I want to let you know that you do have rights. The Federal Employment and Housing Act allows coworkers to sue each other for workplace harassment. That's fantastic. So that's a last resort, right? You don't want to sue a coworker and then have to work with them, on a daily basis. It's more like carrot and stick. That's the stick part, where, hey, I would like you to stop bullying me, and if you don't, I have the legal right to sue you, and I am aware of it, and I will do it. Because here's my feeling on it, right? Have you ever felt like going home and crying, or just quitting your job, or getting violent with your coworker who's bullying you? If you felt all of those ugly feelings, why not sue them? Why not? What do you yeah, you have the right to sue them. An attorney will take the case. So you don't go home crying and hoping something will change or improve. We're going to talk about how best to push back on workplace bullies. Now, I want to make a point here that the boss bully is covered in an entirely different video. That is a different dynamic than the coworker bully. The boss has the ability to fire you, and there's a lot of power involved in the boss. Okay, he has a lot more power, so we have to handle him differently, and so that's in a different video. But in this video, this is a coworker. This coworker could be higher on the corporate ladder than you, but not your boss, or it could be even a janitor bullying a salesperson, someone from totally different department. So it doesn't matter who's bullying you at the workplace, as long as it's not your boss. If it's your boss, that's covered in another video. Okay, so we do have power. We can sue, and that is powerful, because the way I respond to lawsuits, now that I have good credit and I have, assets like a home and a car, I don't want to be sued. I don't want to get a judgment and be paying out. Okay, so if someone's trying to sue me, I would like, if someone came to me right now, whether it was frivolous or not, and they said, we're going to sue you, here's a letter from the attorney, we intend to sue you, I would be like, okay, what can we do to remedy this, to solve this out of court? I would be, because I don't want to go to court. I don't want to hire an attorney. I don't want a judgment against me, okay? So I would be very open and, okay, let's mediate, let's arbitrate, let's come to a resolution. Let's solve this problem without involving the court. Okay? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. My wife, she's a pharmacist in a hospital, and she's been, in her career for 20 years, and she's had many cases of coworker bullies, right? So in one of the places that she used to work, there was this woman named Wendy who had it in for my wife and was always picking on her. And I would see my wife crying when she came home from work. And that made me feel terrible. In fact, it made me feel like I wanted to drive in my car and go there and confront Wendy myself. Not nice in a way. I wanted to confront her and give her some of the pain that she was giving my wife. But how to do that without I would have got arrested. Becky probably would have got fired. A whole bunch of ugliness would have happened if I had responded the way I wanted to respond. So what we're talking about today is how best to respond to a workplace bully. Okay? My wife left a job that was paying $150,000 a year. She left it. And she got a new job. But guess what? There are bullies everywhere. So then, instead of a specific person like Wendy, at her next job, there was a group of mean girls. And this group would come up as a group and attack her or attack anyone who was the victim of the day with mean, hurtful words, insults, make you feel small, make you feel stupid, make you feel ugly or fat, or, make you feel picked on. That's what bullies do, okay? And it was very frustrating. But my wife knew her value in the workplace. She had actual value. And so the most beautiful thing in this whole ugly world is self-sufficiency. Okay? Where your boss is your bully, your coworker, you say, you know what? I don't need this garbage. I have valuable job skills that are in high demand. And I can easily put in my 2-week notice and go somewhere that will treat me with respect. Okay? So that's powerful. Even if as a former criminal, I don't need a corporate job at all. I work for myself, self-employed, because no one's going to hire me with my record. So I don't need anybody to make money. I don't need a single client. If any client comes to my house or to do business with me and they talk rude or they unreasonable requests or they're just difficult, bye-bye, I don't want to do business with you. I am not need my job, need this client. No, that is weakness. And remember our rules, bullies never respect weakness, ever. You got to push back. You got to fight back. That's the only things bullies will respect is strength. Okay? So, it's crazy that these girls, Wendy and the other girls, the mean girls, none of them were doing any physical threats to my wife. But they were making her cry every day. And, in prison, that never happens. You know why? If someone's barking at me, harassing me in prison, I just say, back up, bitch. That word bitch is universally known in jails and prisons. If you call someone a bitch, that means they have to fight you now. We're done talking. This is a physical thing. Let's do it. And so that doesn't work in society at all. So that's why we're in the cages and you guys are out here, because that method of dealing with your problems, just going straight to the violence, never works in society. So we are going to talk about methods that do work effectively to push back on the bullies. Okay? And okay, so let's talk about that first statement I made, that the laws of the United States allow you to sue a coworker for workplace harassment. I like that. I like that. Lawyers like it too. So let's do it. Okay, here's my logic. If you are considering quitting your job because of the harassment, like my wife, she quit twice, and if you're crying when you go home, and if you have sleepless nights, I can't sleep because of the stress of going to work tomorrow because there's going to be the bully and she's going to start in on me and I'm going to, she makes a miserable, toxic workplace. Well, if all that stuff's happening to you, why not sue the bully who is making your life that miserable? Why not? You got, what is your reservation? I'll tell you what your reservation is. You don't want to be known in the workplace as that guy who is suing a coworker. You don't want HR to know, and you don't want your boss to know because you fear that it will hurt promotions and things like that. But here's my feeling. You had a problem. It was a big problem because you were crying and you were considering quitting, and you said, nah, I'm not letting the bully win. Lawsuit. Now, you know that if you watch my other videos, you know that I never ever go straight to the lawsuit. We do our best to try to shrink the problem. Mediation, resolution, peace treaty, ceasefire, a truce. Let's stop. You respect me, I respect you. Let's go. Let's continue this. But the end result is going to be a lawsuit. If you reject my peace treaty, we're going to go to court. Okay? So that is powerful, because without that, the bullies are going to win every time, right? So get that out of your head that you can't sue. That's not my style. Yeah, your style has been victim so far. How's that working out for you? You bought this video, so it tells me that you are looking for solutions to the problem. The problem is you and your reaction to the bullying. You have to react. You have to push back. You have to take action. Your inaction and your willingness to just no, that's why the bullies keep, come on. And remember this too, I come from a place where bullies, they take your food, they beat you down, they threaten to sexually assault you. The workplace bully does none of that. The workplace bully is just mean girls. So now I want you to put me in the room with the mean girls. Is that all they got? Just some mean words? They're gonna, oh, and you're ugly, and you're uneducated. That's all. That's. I'm gonna quit $150,000 a year job for mean girls. No, I won't. I won't. Because I have a mouth too. I could say some pretty crazy things. They're mean. I know how to defend myself verbally. So I'm not, it's not a big deal. But instead of playing this tit for tat gossiping and rumor, all that girls, that's girl stuff. It really is mean girl stuff. That's not. It's undignified, really, for anyone who's not a mean girl to play that desperate housewife nonsense. Okay, that's nonsense. So I think it's laughable. Okay, because they're not a physical threat. Oh, you're just hurting my feelings. Oh, I think I'm gonna quit. No, man, no. No, okay? It's no. So, if you're considering quitting and you're crying at home and you're just feeling miserable, by all means, be open-minded to the possibility of suing your coworker for harassment, okay? Now, some of you are saying, well, if this happens to me, I'm just going to go to HR and HR will handle. No. I want you to Google a term on Google. I want you to look. HR is not your friend. And you're going to see hundreds of thousands of stories of people who went to HR for this exact same situation, and HR is not your friend, okay? HR will either do nothing, or they'll write in your file that you are a complainer or not a team worker, or you're having trouble getting along with coworkers. It's going to be more harmful to you to go to HR. They never are going to solve the problem. They're not your therapist. They're not your friend. Okay? They're not there for you. They're there. The purpose of HR is to defend the interests of the corporation, not the employee. You have it all backwards. You've been brainwashed by the corporation. So remember that. They don't care about you. HR is not going to solve your personal beef with the bully. Not going to happen. So, another good one I want you to forget, because it's not true, that your corporation is we're all a family. Hey, have you ever noticed that when the CEO comes down in your company and he's all, hey, thanks, you got, hey, free pizzas for, I got a bunch of pizzas for you guys for making me $1 million last year. Here's some free $20 pizzas. Thank you, we're a family. They love to say that, huh? We're a family. Yeah, but as soon as you complain about harassment, they'll fire you. They're not there, and they're not a family. You're not part of that family. Okay? You are more. It'd be more accurate to say you are a piece of equipment to them. Okay? In other words, you're like a copy machine or a forklift to a corporation. They look at you and go, "Is this forklift working? Can we trade this forklift in for a better one?" If the answer is yes, you're gone tomorrow, and a new worker. They may even ask you to train your new replacement. That's how scandalous corporations are. They're all about money. They don't care about you at all. Okay? You need to understand that. If you don't, man, it's going to be rough for you, because you still think that your enemy is your friend. Okay? So they're not your friend and you're not your family. Okay? HR is an arm of the corporation, and its job is to protect the corporation. Okay? Not you. Okay? So we already mentioned bosses are a different type of workplace bully, covered in another video. Okay. All harassment in the workplace you must have evidence of the harassment. Okay? The best evidence is a video recording of the bully harassing you Okay, that's super easy to do because they sell tiny little hidden cameras, spy cams, that don't even need, they already charge, they hold a charge for a long time. Some of them are motion activated, sound activated. You put this on in your office somewhere. You put this in your workplace, right where the bully usually attacks you. If you're in the lunchroom and that's where the bully's, that thing sits right out where you're gonna likely catch the bully actually harassing you on camera. Now, other times it's just not practical to have a hidden camera like that, or a close, a spy camera. So you have a spy camera in your pocket all the time. It's called your cell phone. And you're going to turn it on when the bully approaches, hit record, and just record as much of the exchange as possible. You can do it like this, right? The bully comes up, you go, hold on a minute, I have to finish what I'm doing. And then you just hit record and you go, yes. And then the bully says, what you doing, loser? I go, please don't talk to me that way. It's rude, it's disrespectful. Hey, what you gonna do, loser? You ugly loser. You can't. Yeah, just record it. Just record it. Remember that if I'm recording this, I have to be reasonable and not confrontational, not instigator. Okay? Because I'm gonna be on camera. I have to look like a real victim and not mutual. So if she calls me a loser and I say, yeah, but at least I'm not fat, now it's mutual. And you might as well turn the camera off, because anything that happens after that, it was mutual. So don't make that mistake, okay? When you're recording, whether it's through hidden surveillance camera, a spy cam, you could buy a spy cam on Amazon for $30, okay? A good one with great reviews. And it's so tiny, it's like real super tiny. Well, you've seen the GoPros, right? You could get a smaller one. It's not as round, it's just one little cube, and it connects to your computer for downloading ease. And this is what I'm recommending, is you record the harassment. I would go so far as to say multiple recordings, because what if the court dismisses one of them for some reason? Oh, well, there's a technicality here where it was not clear what was said, or, well, you have multiple recordings of the harassment, okay? Also, one recording of harassment, it's not a pattern. We need to show a steady pattern of abuse, not a one-time event, okay? So it could take you a month to collect enough evidence that any court would go, oh yeah, you're definitely the bully, you're a victim of bullying in the workplace. Okay? So evidence, okay? And okay, so you've got to have a lot of strong evidence. All evidence I'm talking about is in the form of a recording. Why? Because there's no physical evidence. In other words, the bully's not punching you in the face, so you don't have physical evidence of the bullying. You have to get it on recording, because they're definitely going to say, I didn't do anything. Oh, I'm not the bully. She's the bully. He's the one who picked on me. They're all every single bully says that. Okay? So you have to have very strong evidence, preferably more than one recording. There's no other form of evidence, really, that, okay? Text messages, but do you text your coworker, and does a